Now, you had already published your first book when this incident occurred, where the neighbors asked you multifamily or you
No.
grab coffee?
No.
No.
I was working on the first one. I was working on Prove Them Wrong.
So you were working on the book, and then this happened. And so then how long from the incidents of that happening before you leave the Navy and become or start working as a real estate investor?
So I was still in the Navy when I bought my first property.
Okay.
And I was basically running my whole business, doing it on my lunch breaks, after I finished work on base, and on my weekends.
I see.
So I bought, he told me about multifamily. I educated myself, read as much as I could. I bought a 4-unit out in Pacific Beach. And then that's when I started. And then I started going to all the network events around the city, meeting all the presidents, building relationships with them. And then from there, I ended up doing several deals after that and built my business while I was in the Navy.
That's awesome. That's the best way to do it, I think, as long as you have cash flows and health insurance to protect yourself. But like, you know, for those of you who don't know Pacific Beach, it's a neighborhood here in San Diego, California. It's coastal. It's directly at the beach and the bay. It's beautiful, and most homes are probably retailing there for over $1 million. So even buying a fourplex, then what year did you buy it?
2020.
So even buying a fourplex in 2020 is not a cheap endeavor. So it probably took a lot of planning and finesse to get into the deal, right?
It took a lot of planning and finesse.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it was a 4-unit, $2 million property at the time. And even though I used my, people talk about the VA loan and that it's slowed down, but it's really not. For one, you're buying out here, and for two, you're buying multifamily, so it's a whole different ballgame, a whole different beast. So you had to have, and that's why a lot of veterans don't qualify and can't get into 4 units, 3 to 4 units, or multifamily in general in San Diego, because you're gonna need $100,000 at least saved up. You know what I mean, that you can do to even get you through the door.
Sure.
And so I think that for me, one thing I always remember when I got out of Chicago, my mom always said that, like, I don't have much, and I can't really teach you about investing or anything like that, but just save your money, because we always live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And I remember just thinking about that as I went through college, and I was like, I'm just gonna save. And so I just save. And so when Keegan, my buddy, told me about multifamily, he used those words, and I opened that door and I pursued that opportunity, I had it.
I love that. So then that was your very first real estate deal, a $2 million fourplex.
Mm-hmm.
That's a doozy, you know that, right?
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Because 4 units is not a doozy per se, because you're just quote unquote managing 4 people. But from a loan amount wise, if you're looking around the majority of the country, for $2 million, and even though you may have financed portions of it, you can buy a pretty big property, right? Like, in PB tends to be smaller than most places elsewhere. But that's cool. Congratulations, man. So you've had it since 2020. And then you started like slowly getting into other properties. What was your frequency and like the you kind of turnaround merging into the next deal after doing your first one?
I would say 2 months later.
Okay, so you kind of had...
It was pretty quick.
The bug had bit you and you just wanted to do it.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah, super quick. And then did you do the next deal with just your own cash or with other investors?
The next deal I did it with 2 other partners.
Okay, how'd you find them?
I met them at a real estate meetup. Got cool with them. They were great. They were actually a couple, married, and we bought a 12-unit in Golden Hill.
Oh, nice.
And then this one I wasn't able to successfully close. There were some other things in the background that prevented it. But I had got a duplex under contract in Little Italy that was literally like a block from all the bars.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was another partnership where I found the deal, I underwrote the deal, I was gonna manage the deal, and the guy funded my whole down payment.
Oh, wow.
Literally. And it would have been an equity ownership 50-50.
I see what you're saying. And so this is like a duplex here in Little Italy.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Tell us a little bit more maybe about the unit mix and all of that, what the duplex looked like.
For the Little Italy?
Yeah.
I can't remember what the exact unit mix was. I think they were all like 2 bedrooms, at least 2 ones, I believe.
Yeah, 2 ones. Cool.
Had a small little backyard.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was literally like you cross the street,
Right.
and you're literally 2 blocks from all the, like right down the street from, what's that bar? You got the Starbucks there on the corner.
Yeah, Bold.
You got Kettner
Exchange
down the street. Like
right.
It was superb area.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I love that area. It's like one of the most walkable areas in the city of San Diego.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so then, when were you able to leave your Navy job that brought in full-time income plus benefits and transition into real estate full-time? Like, how fast did that happen?
That's funny. So I am still in the Navy. I'm out in September.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So that's the thing that shook people up, is like this whole time people think that I've been out. I get that a lot, and I'm like, actually I'm still in. Like, I've been able to do everything I've been able to do and build a full-fledged business out of it while I was in the service.
I love that.
As an officer.
And that's what more people need to hear, quite frankly.
Yeah, so I'll
that
be out.
Something like that is doable.
Now that I got it to where I need to be, I mean, I feel I officially pulled the chalks. I would have been out sooner, but as an officer, I have other obligations.
Right.
I got sailors and people's lives in my hand that I got to lead and take care of. And so I got my official separation orders, and it'll be September.
You're done.
Yeah, this September.
Congrats.
Thanks.
And so you have enough cash flows, I assume, from your real estate at this point in time that you can live off of
I'm
it.
good. Yeah, between the books and the speaking and the real estate, I'm good. Yeah.
That's great. And I don't know if you can share your age for this camera, but like...
oh man, you coming on all the nuggets. I don't even share my age either.
Okay, no, that's A-okay. And I would never offend, you know, but
I'm
like
31, bro.
He's 31. And like I think it's interesting in this culture where, you know, a lot of younger people want to live the laptop lifestyle, right? To see somebody who has already built their own businesses so that he can live according to his own framework and his own interests, right? Of course, you know, you have real estate, your tenants are your customers, so you're responsible for them. But around of that, you can set up, you know, systems that make your life easier, and it's not like a 9-to-5 job. And so that's what's admirable, I think. That's cool. Yeah. Was it strenuous to be a real estate owner and do your full-time day job at all, or?
It was. I mean, you gotta hustle. I mean, it's always running around long days, but I mean, it's just like anybody that works a W-2 job. You gotta make the time. If you're gonna start a business or do something else to escape the rat race, where do you think the time gonna come from?
Right,
so
exactly.
That means that you're gonna have to get up early in the morning before you work. You're either gonna use your lunch breaks. You're gonna have to do it at night when you get off work in your weekends. And you gotta look at it. I always had the motto at the Naval Academy: short-term loss for a long-term gain. I live by that shit.
Well, and it's so true. You've maybe seen the graphic where it says, easy decisions, hard life, hard decisions, easy life. Right? I mean, that's exactly what you're saying. So
I literally live by that shit.
Yeah.
And I always say that to myself multiple times a day. And that's what got me through. And it was the same mindset, like, this is temporary.
So you were just saying that you live by that motto,
short-term loss for the long-term gain.
Short-term loss for the long-term gain. And that's how you were able to manage basically your career in the Navy and then build this real estate career that you can now transition into. And you were saying between your books, your speaking engagements, and the real estate income, you're self-sufficient. So you're a business owner that doesn't need a W-2 job anymore once you get out, right? Congratulations, that's fucking awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like it. I'd say, you know, I'd say first of all, we should turn this into 2 parts, you know, or 3 parts. We'll see how the next one goes. If you're down with that, first of all.
Whatever I can do that.
But, yeah, I think, you know, maybe something to leave our viewers with would be one mindset thing that helped you make these big transitions in your life, right? From being a gang member to actually getting into the Navy, and then from the Navy having the discipline, doing what you did, and then transitioning, and now you're about to transition out into, you know, your own business and into the civilian world. But what were some of the maybe mantras that you had, or some of the key key pillars that anchor and ground you? What are those in your life, and like what would you recommend to somebody to kind of like have in their mind as well, from a mindset standpoint?
I'm gonna say discipline is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline is what you do when you are not motivated to do it. Because at some point, the motivation goes away, and what do you do when you don't feel like doing it? And if
Right.
you can always do, and you can always execute when you don't feel like doing it, you will always go far in life and always be successful.
Right.
And what drives that for me, and what I can tap into, is my why, which is my mom.
Yes, I read that in your book, and we want to show that too before we part.
And deeper than that is regret.
Regret.
I imagine growing up at a young age, and all your life you're seeing regret in front of you.
Yes.
With my uncles being drug addicts, with my biological father, with the people in Chicago that in their eyes you can see the regret, and my family members and my cousins, and then coming from a place of violence and the killings and the drive-bys and everything around you is like hard and rugged, and people regretting, and you grow up into that, and then after several years you leave and you're like, man, when I look back on my life, I want to be proud.
Right, I feel that.
And because of that, that always is in my mind.
Right.
And that's what drives me to be the best.
I love that.
And pursue and take advantage of every opportunity.
So if I were to summarize this, one, have discipline, and two, have, a strong why if you want to take the steps in the right direction in your life, right? Having the discipline and having the why. And I personally add one third one to it, because I think your discipline can only take you so far, but if you have the right systems in place, it'll help you sustain the discipline or the lack of discipline that you have, right? But I really wanted to thank you for being here and sharing your background. I think it's going to help a lot of people see that even if your situation may be hopeless for a little while, if you hang on and you focus on the right things, good things can come your way, right? With that, man, thank you for being here, having been here. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we'll see. Well, guys, listen, I'll say this. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please hit the like button and the notification bell. Subscribe to my channel for more personal development content. And we may do a second and third episode of this. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.